Welcome back, family, to the Servant Real podcast. I'm your host, Don Cello, the Servant King. Y'all know what we do, man. We talk to the entrepreneurs, the culture shifters, people out here, man, making a change and making a shift in the culture. And today, I got a returning guest, one of my favorite interviews, um, Mr. Jesse, the owner of Upland Clothing Company. And one of the things for me that's always special is when a guest one wants to return. I always love my guests. Like I always tell them before, I'm always a fan. But now returning with something new.
Yep.
So we definitely gonna touch back on the brand, but today, bro, you bringing something new.
Yep.
So I'm gonna let you introduce it. What's going on? Well, first of all, what's going on with you?
Dude, first off, thanks for having me back.
Man, listen, thank you.
Last time was fun, man.
Absolutely.
That was great.
Absolutely.
A lot of good feedback from that one
Thank
too.
you for returning, bro. Like I told you off camera, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fan first. I tell people that. So I appreciate anybody that will even come to the platform and speak.
Yeah.
So the fact that you got something new and you're willing to come back to me is even better. So let's talk about it, bro. You got a new book out.
Yeah.
All
A
right?
new little book. It's nothing crazy.
Mhm.
It's not long or anything, but yeah, a little book, man, about self-belief,
Mhm.
pretty much.
So I know we kind of talked about that on the last episode.
Yeah.
Like how it's important for people that want to even be entrepreneurs
Yep.
to believe
Yeah.
in what they actually doing, right?
Yeah.
So kind of talk about what inspired the book, first of all.
So I've always had these thoughts, like everything I wrote in this book, like I've been thinking since I was like 16 or 17, and I finally decided like I need to put it out in a scripted format that makes more sense to people, in a little more detail. Because all these came from my notes in like my phone. I went back and dug deep. Yeah, so like I had a bunch of these notes, and I just started making it make more sense, Because when I was a kid skating, I would always just write stuff down,
So when you say notes, be more specific. When you say notes, is it stuff that like you put to inspire yourself?
Yeah.
Stuff that you kind of just want to remember along the journey. Kind of talk about those notes that.
Yeah, they're mainly to inspire myself, to keep myself inspired. So like when I was young and like going through a bad time or something, I would like look back at my notes and reread stuff, and I'd be like, okay, dang, like that makes sense. Like keep going, keep going, and kind of boost myself up. But so yeah, they were just all, and they were scattered notes, man. I have like hundreds of pages on my notes just of like if I have a thought, I just write it down, and then I guess it's kind of like poetry, but not really like in that format, but just thoughts.
So talk about that transition going from, I know making clothes and branding clothes is probably second nature to you now, but now stepping into the author field, right? What was that like? What's the process like? And then what was the difference between branding clothes and branding your wear to now branding your literature, your thoughts?
It's a lot different. Yeah, it's a lot different. I mean, same creativity though. Like it's same, like you get to be creative, you get to kind of do whatever you want. It's your free will, But it is a lot different because first off, I'm not good at reading or writing at all. Like I'll be the first to say, I had to use a lot of like pages to help, figure out words and stuff like that and stuff and help and proofreads and like a lot of proofreads, right? So, but I mean, that doesn't stop you from doing anything that you want, But yeah, it's challenging for sure. But that's why I made it small too, because not a lot of people. I mean, nowadays, not a lot of people like to read, and you got TikTok and you got Instagram and all this stuff that's so fast paced. Like a lot of people will read a page of this and be like, "Oh, I'm done," So I try to make it small and like straight to the point of kind of the main like 5 chapters that are like important that I think are mainly important to get you kickstarted. You know what I mean? It's like a Kickstarter.
So tell us what the book is about. I know you say you spoke to, you spoke about different things that helped you, right? But give us the meat of the book. If I'm going to look for a book, and I want a genre, right? Tell me what would I find this under.
So it's kind of like a self-help book. It's kind of like things that help you, and not okay. So a lot of books I read are like, they don't give you enough detail of how to achieve what you're reading, right? Like they just tell you, hey, you should think this way and kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
just believe in yourself.
Just believe in yourself, right? But it's like, these are step-by-step instructions to like what to actually do on a day-to-day basis to build that thought, right? So like, because these are all in the chapter, there's a chapter in here, it's a skill built through action is one of the chapters. And it's like, confidence is just a skill that you build through actively doing it, right? Like by actively doing things. So in the book, I kind of go over like, how to achieve all this stuff just through actions every day. You know, it doesn't happen in a year. It might take you 2 years. It depends on how hard you work at it. But yeah, it's all action.
Did you already know, like, did you already know years ago that you wanted to write a book, or was this something that after going through the trials and tribulations of building a clothing brand, is that what finally made you say, okay, maybe I should write a book to help inspire other people, or how did that process work?
Yeah, I've always wanted to do something. I didn't know if it was going to be a book. I thought about just doing an ebook when I was young, you know, kind of just putting thoughts out there. Like Facebook was kind of the first area where I started venting like kind of thoughts and ideas, right? Because I would make stories and just like they would just be thoughts and stuff. So then I was like, maybe I could do a book, but I thought it was out of my league, you know. I thought because I'm not really good at spelling and reading either, you know, and even words I'm just not really, you know, I didn't even graduate high school, so it's like I was kind of worried about that, but then I was just like, you know, screw it, let's try it, you know, let's push the boundaries.
And look where we at.
Yeah, and it came out actually pretty sweet, dude. I was surprised.
Tell us first of all, tell people where they can find the book if they want to get it.
Yeah, so I have the book on my website right now. It's www.uplandclothingco, and it's under the accessories tab, and you can get the hard copy or soft copy, or you can get an ebook. I have both versions, so I could just email you the book because not a lot of people like to have it or whatever. So everybody's different.
Right. We live in a time now where you could just listen to.
Yeah, I thought about doing an audiobook too. That'd be cool. That might be the next step. Yeah.
What So is there a chance of a part 2? Is there a chance of you writing another book, or you kind of just enjoying the space that you're in right now?
Well, a lot of people were like writing me back and were like, some people were saying it's not long enough, and I was like, wow, really? Like, you guys want more? But they must be active readers or something, right?
Right.
And so, because I could go into way more detail about each chapter in the book, but I just wanted to keep it short and sweet, kind of to get people kind of kickstarted. Yeah. So I thought about doing another one, but a real longer one with way more detail and like way more steps on how to achieve it. Because there's a lot of good chapters, man. I'm gonna go through the chapters real quick.
Okay.
All right. The first chapter is it's you versus you. Then it's how do you talk to yourself, right? Then it's a race against self-doubt, which is pretty crazy. A skill built through action, feeling competence, and then follow your gut intuition. And that's like the kind of the blueprint of like narrating to yourself, like, who am I?
Right.
How do I, you know, I'm not confident, you know, addressing the problems, you know, so.
Let's go through a couple of those, because you spoke on chapter 1, you versus you, and we kind of just talked about that, how you didn't even initially think that you should write one because of your situation, right? But then you had to overcome that. That's kind of you versus
it is.
You. And then 2 was what was chapter 2?
How do you talk to yourself?
How do you talk to yourself? So how did you like overcome that that disbelief?
See, it's crazy because a lot of people think that you have to have relationships with other people, but they always miss out on the relationship with themselves, you know? And then more nowadays you start hearing about it more, like, oh, you got to love yourself and stuff. But I mean, like, really love yourself. And like, not even really love yourself, but talk to yourself. Like, it's, you know, when you wake up at the end of the day, you're the one that knows the problems, right? Like, you're the one, it's you. Like, you have to become friends with you. And not in the cliche way of like, love yourself, and, you know, like Facebook and Instagram always say, but in a real way of like, you got to wake up and like, don't be scared to actually talk out loud.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're in the bedroom, talk out loud. What are we doing today? What do we got to work on? You know, like, it's not weird, but
you know, it's crazy that you say that, because I think that a lot of our problems could be solved that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes instead of always running to somebody else.
Yeah.
You got to be able to have,
because they don't know what's good for you.
They don't.
Right. They don't.
And they can always give you their opinion based on their story.
Right.
And you saying that kind of makes me think about growing up, like watching cartoons. You had like the devil on one shoulder.
Yeah.
You got the angel on one shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, both of them are you.
Yeah.
Right. But they're conflicting. So I think that's great.
That's why, like, a lot of people, and then dude, so many people talk. It's almost like a trend too to talk negative about yourself, right? Where it's like I've noticed people, like, you talk to certain people, and the reason they talk negative about themselves is to, like, because they really think that, but they're trying to play it off as a joke, where it's like, oh, I'm stupid, and it's like they really think they're stupid or like something, and it's like, because you don't have that clear communication within yourself to understand, like, dude, we're not stupid. Right. It might be hard, but we're not stupid. We can figure it out, right? Like.
Yeah, I think we do stupid things.
Yeah.
That don't so much.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So it's kind of crazy. The relationship with yourself is probably the most important thing ever.
You said that it's on the Upland Clothing website. So let's get back into that. What's what's kind of going on with Upland. I see you still releasing new
Oh, yeah,
products,
always.
still
100 things at once.
opening new stores. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see you going on. So kind of talk about where we're at with Upland.
I just put out a new drop for like spring and summer. It's like dude, it was like 20 something items. So it's pretty heavy. It was a pretty cool drop. Got skateboards finally. I've been working on skateboards for a while.
I know you've been working.
Yeah,
on
I've been
that.
working on them for a while. Working on getting in more stores. I've been reaching out to a lot more traction in California recently, in like New York area.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm marketing over there and trying to get the brand more
Yeah.
out
I think
there.
I seen
know.
you in New York.
Yeah,
traveled up to
yeah,
New York and did some more. That's
traveling,
powerful.
trying to travel more and just kind of connect and stuff.
Get the brand out there.
Yeah.
So what's the feedback? Are you getting the feedback that you getting at home? Is it kind of different? Is it kind of mixed? Like what?
Bro,
what's that?
it's
what's that
way
feedback?
different. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Like here, people are like, I'm aware that I have like a unique style here. Not like me specifically, but my brand is not really like, when you think of Florida, you think of like bathing suits,
more
button-up shirts,
southern
like stuff like that. The streetwear I make is kind of more of a California vibe. So when I would go to California, dude, everyone's hyped. It's like way more popular.
So they accept you open.
Oh yeah, easy. Like when I went there, everyone was like, even I would walk down the street and people would compliment my shirts and style, and I'm like, what? That's crazy. I thought that was so weird, and so I was like, I got to get out there, for sure.
I think that's good. Like it kind of speaks to how you don't always get some. Your biggest supporters are not always family. It's not always your home base. You almost have to go outside.
You have to. That's been my hardest journey. Is like being born in an area and then making style that's completely different than the area. But you don't really realize that until you get to a point of like, okay, you kind of tapped out here.
Right.
Like I've kind of done a lot of the major things, and like everybody kind of knows you now and stuff, and you're like, okay, well, what do we do now? Where else is there?
So what is next? I mean, you say you got skateboards now. You just did you said 20-piece drop.
Yep.
For some.
Yeah, it was like 20 different items. I got candles, like all kinds of weird, unique little things. Yeah.
yeah. I know that. I remember last time we was talking and you had just
branding everything. Yeah.
But I think that's the thing though. Right?
Yeah.
You put your brand on everything.
I mean, to make candles was pretty fun because it's like I'm a brand, but you get to be creative and they're hand poured and everything.
I like when you did the air fresheners.
Yeah, the air fresheners. I got another one. I got another style.
Yep.
Another style of those. Right now, the next thing I'm working on is denim, and then cargo pants.
Okay.
Yeah, so like more of the pants.
Okay.
Which is a little bit harder.
Why is the pants kind of hard?
The denim and the fabric is heavier. It's more expensive.
Okay.
And sizing.
Okay.
For men too. Like men's sizing is a little bit weird.
So what's you talked about New York, California, and I guess that's about as major as you can go when you talk about the East.
Yeah.
And the West. Is there anywhere else that you plan on going? You looking, or you just kind of keep trying to get your feet grounded?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to like get a home base in Cali, I think. Like kind of start moving over there. Not move, but like just have like a little hub where I can go there and this network throughout there. Because California's huge, man, too. It's like Florida's big and everything, but it's all kind of the same. Yeah. A lot of it's like retired old people, down south too.
Right.
So not a lot of, but like California, everyone's trying stuff and everything.
I
And
believe California is the biggest state.
Yeah.
In America, I believe.
And it's the biggest like skate culture.
Right.
So it's like everybody's skating, and everything, and skate style and everything, and just style in general. Right. Everybody kind of cares what they look like more and stuff,
Would you consider moving to Cali?
Yeah, I've thought about it. Yeah, I've thought about it, dude. It is expensive move though.
I know.
God, it's expensive to live there.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
I mean, just to travel there is like, whew.
Right.
You're spending a couple bands to go. It's like, geez.
But if you can make that mark.
But yeah, that's all it takes, Because right now I have a lot of traction. Like a lot of people look at my website because I can track everything on the website, right? And it's like, but they're not buying. And I'm like, okay, how do you make that initial sale? And I think a lot of it is because it's still unknown. Like, when things pop up on your sponsored.
You just keep scrolling.
And you keep scrolling because you don't know what it is. Right. But then if you know what it is, you're like, oh, let me look. Okay, they have a new product, right? So it's like, that's the next goal is like how to relate more, I guess, to those people out there. And a lot of people buy stuff that they know from. Like I make a lot of sales just from people who know me or know of me. Like if they like know that there's a real person behind it, they're like, okay, they're more apt to buy than you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's crazy because I think now we live in that time.
Yeah.
Where people want to buy more into the face.
Yeah, the person.
They want a face.
The face
behind the brand.
And what does it represent and stuff like that?
What do you stand for?
What do you stand for and stuff like that? Yeah.
Wow.
Which is interesting.
Right.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. And then you have to be more. That's why I think like interviews and stuff like that now become more important.
Yeah.
Because people want to know, like, what's your philosophy?
Right.
How do you?
What's your
think?
motive too? Right. Like, is this a
Right.
good guy? Is this a good person? Are they
Right.
gonna rob me? Are they
Right.
kind of making? You know what I mean? Like,
Right. And
yeah.
what's behind the brand?
Yeah.
Like, what made you even started? Is it something foul or is it something for a good cause? And I think people are relating more to
Yeah.
the owners.
I think so too.
people that's-
Because I noticed too a lot of like I don't know if you know this thing on YouTube Vice. They do a lot of like Vice, and I've seen this one recently, and they do a lot of food stuff,
Okay.
and it's like all the food stuff that's popular is like people know them, like personally.
Okay.
And
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
they interview, they're like, yeah, I've been coming here for 20 years, and like,
right.
and you go,
So
or
now they got that relationship.
yeah, they have that
Yeah.
building relationships, and I
Yeah.
think Jax is too small to do that because like once you know everybody here in the I say in the creative community,
Right.
Because that's kind of like where
I
you
got you.
you don't really branch out of the creative community. Like I'm not gonna go to the country and sell stuff, right? Like
right.
so once you know everybody kind of there, you're like, okay, we kind of stopped. We know everybody. Either they like your stuff or they don't like your stuff.
Mhm.
And if a lot of people like your stuff, but they don't want to buy it because it's not their style, right? So it's like the self-help book even. I mean, it's like a lot of people think they have it figured out. So this is stupid to them or meaningless, you know?
Right.
So it's interesting that like everybody's different take on. They're like, oh, I love what he does, and it's so cool that he's trying something, but I could never see myself wearing that style, right?
I got you.
And I'm sure you have that too
got you.
before, even with friends. You're like, oh, I love that product, but maybe I wouldn't buy it, you know?
Right.
But I still love it, and I
Right.
love what he's doing.
Right.
So
And I think you can still support people.
right, you can.
Like,
Yeah.
like, even if you buy, you could buy for somebody else.
Yep.
Or also talk about that too. What's the different ways? Because I think sometimes as entrepreneurs we get offended when friends or family don't quote unquote what we think is support. But see, I and you tell me how you feel. I think support is sharing, liking a post. It could be similar to that because just a simple like puts us in a different algorithm. Like it's different things you could do. So kind of talk about that, like how you can have friends that might like what I'm doing, but they don't actually so much like the product or just not them.
Yeah, I think honestly, bro, I think ego comes into there. I think a lot of people are egotistical, and they're like they think that you're nothing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when you start a business, no matter who you are, you're nothing. You are competing with 1,000 other brands that have been doing it for 100 years.
Right.
You shouldn't expect just friends to support you because I've always thought about it like this. I have to prove myself to these people. Why would they just support me out of nowhere? How many friends of you say, hey, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow, and they quit next year? You know what I mean? So it's like you're kind of competing with all this stuff, and I've always, like, from my personal opinion, but I agree with you. I do think sharing, liking, even a comment, like, hey, yo, you look cool, or anything. I mean, anything is support nowadays. You don't always have to buy it or, you know, a lot of people think you always have to buy it. But I think a lot of people are just egotistical, and they think, like, they should just start something and, like, they should just be supported. And it's like, that's not necessarily true. You kind of have to prove that you're, because I've learned this, people want to commit to somebody who is committed, right? Like, that's a fact. Like, the world wants to commit to people who are committed.
Right.
Why do you think celebrities are celebrities? Because they're famous for one reason only, not just skill, but because they've committed to something longer than the rest of the world will choose to commit to it. You know what I mean? Like, so.
And I agree. Do you think that people like your post, right? So I see your post now, and I see the air fresheners, I see the basketball, the skateboards.
Yeah.
But then people don't know there was a time where you couldn't get a shirt sold.
Yeah,
couldn't
exactly.
get a pair of socks sold. So do you think that like that plays a part, that people only see success now because we only post success?
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's why a lot of times I try to post the old stuff where I'm like, you know, I've been doing this. Like y'all are just coming around.
Right.
But I've, you know, this is like 5 years now or something, you know, and that's a long time. Dude, 3 years is a long time of sacrificing, struggling, giving up parties or whatever fun stuff, and putting all that money into a business that you think that you know is going to succeed, right? You're like, dude, this is going to be my life, this is my future, and all your friends are like, I'm buying cars and I'm buying houses and I'm having kids and I'm doing all this stuff, and you're like, yeah, I'm just putting money in my business, you know. So 3 years is a long time to struggle and suffer. So I think I think a lot of people should relax on that. Like, oh, they don't support me. Like, do something to be supported. Like, you got to do something. Like, you can't just make a shirt and think, oh, my friends don't support me. Why would we? Johnny made a shirt too.
Yeah,
Guess what?
right.
Billy made a shirt
Right,
too.
right,
Like
right,
all these other
right,
dudes are making shirts.
right,
Like, what are you?
right. So
you
what's
know?
special about
What's special
your
about
shirt?
you?
Right.
And it doesn't have to be like your product is special, but your commitment maybe,
Mhm.
or your energy, or
Mhm.
your commitment to grow and learn too.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people I see will make shirts for a year or two and they stay the same and they don't grow. You know, a lot of people are like, it's like, I don't know, like what you can refer it to, but a lot of people, you know, want to tag along to the winner.
Right.
You know, and if
Absolutely.
you show that you're like, yo, I'm gonna be the winner, I'll be the spokesperson for all of us. Everyone's like, okay, let's do it. You know, okay,
Right,
okay,
right, right,
I believe you.
right,
You know,
right.
and a lot of people will tag along to you because they see in you what they see in themselves, but they can't do it, right? So it's like, I'll be with you if you're confident and you're the believer, and I'm like, I'm confident too, but I'm not as confident, right?
I'm gonna feed off.
I'm
a
gonna feed off
confident
of you,
person.
yeah, because I'm like, okay, he has it, I don't, right? So it's kind of interesting.
Is that what played a part into you? And I always think some of the things you do is special because it's clothing,
Right.
but you've branded so many other things
Yeah.
that are not clothes.
Yeah. I think that played a big part too, because there's a little something for everybody in the product range.
Right.
But I think what played a part with me was the major commitment, where like after a year or two, people were like, this guy is not stopping.
Right.
You know, this guy's serious.
I keep seeing you.
Right. I keep
keep
showing
seeing
up.
you. Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't know, like, even when I'm showing up, I'm losing money.
Absolutely.
Or even when I'm showing up, I'm not getting accepted. I'm still showing up though. But I lose money still to the day. Right. Like I lose, but you know, that doesn't stop me from making new stuff. But people don't know that just because you show up doesn't mean you're not losing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Or just because it looks good doesn't mean, I mean, I'm still losing even though it looks good.
Right.
You
And I
know?
think social media helps us make everything look.
It's
better.
pretty easy actually.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what
It's
I'm
pretty
saying?
easy.
Like you can make people think you live in
Yeah.
the biggest house.
Yeah.
And-
People assume stuff about me all the time, and I'm just like, I'm just thinking like, where do you get that from?
Right.
I mean, that's amazing that you think that,
Right.
but no, I'm not there.
Right.
You know, I'm the first to say like, I am nowhere near there, buddy.
Right.
You know, like all that money that I could buy a house or a car, I put back in the business to try to
Absolutely.
blow it up. I'm trying to blow up. You know, I'm not trying to be Mixer flex a lot or something.
Right.
You know,
I'm trying to actually
have a business and make real money from it. You know,
That's why
So-
I think self-help books and things like that, I think they're important.
yeah, I do too. I think
especially-
everybody's opinion is important.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Just to listen though, you don't have to
Right,
believe it.
right.
Like even this, you could read this whole thing and think
not
it's
agree.
complete stupid, right? A crock of crap. But as long as you understood, and you might read this and take one chapter and think, okay, and that might help you. Because that's why I talk to everybody. I talk to all walks of life and just listen to everybody's opinion from the lower to the upper, and that's how you form your own opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Talk about that. Do you think that that's a thing? Like, because I'm a believer in what you just said. I think you should listen to all opinions. Now, you shouldn't take all opinions to heart.
Yeah.
But I think even your critics
Yes.
can say something
100%.
that
100%.
you could take.
Dude, a lot of people will try to tell me how like things I should do, and obviously I'm usually like, that's kind of ridiculous, and they're just naive because they don't know the ins and outs, but they're trying and they want to do, you know, they mean well. Most people mean well, right? So but I listen, you know, I'm like, maybe that's true,
Maybe,
you know, maybe
right.
I'm not the genius, I'm not the smartest in the block, but so maybe that works. And there has been times where I've listened to people and I'm like, that's crazy, you know, that kind of worked, you know. Or I take it and I just do it my way. You know, I take the same thing and I'm like, let me just tweak it a little.
Absolutely.
I like that, but let me just tweak it a little.
Yeah. You can take pieces from this person and
Yeah.
this person, and then mesh it in.
Yeah, to kind of what your goal is, especially like with older people and families, right? Like, you know, a lot of people just listen to word for word what their parents say, but sometimes you got to pick and choose what you want to take with you, you know?
And just because they're your parents don't mean they're right.
Exactly, yeah.
And it doesn't even so much mean they're wrong. It just means, you know.
That worked for them, but it might not work for you.
work for them,
That's
man.
as simple as it is.
It's
But a lot of
simple.
people want to like say wrong, right, this bad. It's like nothing's really wrong or bad or right. It's just what works for the individual.
Find a middle ground.
Yeah, you got to find your middle ground.
Yep.
And the only way you find your middle ground is by knowing yourself. And the only way you know yourself is by reading my book.
Man, I agree. Absolutely.
There you go.
I agree because you could be on two different. It's like you said, like everything is not just all bad, and some things are just not all good
Yeah.
or right or wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I think that's a problem with, and especially if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you have to be able to step out of these extremes
Exactly.
and say, hey, it's maybe not all this,
Yeah.
and maybe not all that, but it's got to be a gray area
Right.
that I could flow in.
Yeah.
And make.
And you got to create your own. Your
Gotta
your
create
own
your
area.
own.
And that's
Yep.
what's so funny. I hear so many people all the time say bad and good and wrong, and I'm just thinking there's no wrong or right and there's no bad or good. It's just okay, that worked for him.
Right.
That doesn't work for me. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not right. He's just in his own lane. You know what I mean? Like, even with your family, like, the old days, it might have worked for them. Like, they might have, you know, done these things. But maybe if you want to change, being clear with yourself, like, I don't want to live that way. What works for me? It's not like they're wrong or dumb or anything like that. It's just, bro, we got to stop, like, saying everyone's wrong and bad and right. It's like,
I
they're just doing their thing.
That's what's good about a self-help. When you say you write a self-help book, right? You could have wrote a book about this is how you start a clothing brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then John from down the street who started a clothing brand could write a book and say that everything that you did was wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not wrong because you obviously were successful in yours and he's successful in his. So both of y'all started a clothing brand but did something different to make successful. So how about I just show you how to inspire yourself.
Inspire yourself.
And then that'll bleed over into the business.
Yeah, and that bleeds over to any business too. Anything. Because that's the cool thing about if you read stuff like this, any self-help book, you can take it and apply it to whatever you want, right? It doesn't have to be clothing or just one genre. You could like read this and be like, oh, I'm going to start a lawnmower business. I don't know. I'm going to go cut grass. I don't know. Anything that betters your life. I mean, you can't hate on that.
Right. And I think that's why it's good because if we improve on self, whatever we put our energy in will work.
Yeah, exactly. I believe that. 100% confidence too.
Absolutely.
Like, you got to already believe it.
Right.
Like, okay, and it's funny because a lot of times the internet, there's too many thoughts on the internet, right? And not enough people have confidence. So to me, I can hear all these thoughts and nothing comes in, bro. Like, because I choose what you know what I mean? I know the path.
But I can hear him and be like, oh my God,
I suck.
I want to do it.
I want to do it.
He's right. He might got a point.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times like, so when I went to Cali, I rented a Porsche and I was just driving around and I did that for up here, right?
Absolutely.
And not like you have to do this or anything like that.
But it works for you.
But it works for me. And like whatever makes you feel like I already feel like I'm the I'm the man, right? I'm whipping the Porsche, I have my own brand. I feel like, and people were talking to me and and I felt like, and it's different if you don't have a business maybe and you're just a guy going to California to flex for your friends, right? And people are talking to you, who cares? Like, you're nobody. You go back home. But this is what I want in 10 years. This is the whole point of why I'm doing this, right? Like, to better myself, to get better things, not materialistic necessarily, but that does come with the journey, right? So it's like, and I'm whipping around and I'm feeling like, yo, I'm the man. And when you step out, people talk to you or they say something to you. It's like, yeah, I got a brand. And they're kind of like, what? And it's just like, but that's what you got to do to keep yourself, grounded, like whatever it takes. Donald Trump, there was an interview where he said that he had a buddy, bro, and his buddy and they were like not poor. I don't think he was ever poor, but like they were not successful as he was, and his friend was not successful, but he would always fly first class to keep his brain. You never flew anything else but first class, and Donald Trump would always tell him like, why are you wasting your money like that, And the guy was like, whatever makes you feel. Absolutely. You got to do anything to make your brain feel like you have to feel like you're already that person even when you're not,
Wow. And it's funny you say that because I remember I believe it was Steve Harvey was talking about
he talks about it too,
flying, like if you never fly first class, you could look at somebody flying first class like, oh, why would you spend all that money?
Exactly.
Why would you invest all that money? But then the first time he flew first class,
he said, I'll never fly again.
I'll never fly coach.
He said, I'll never fly coach
because
again.
it puts you in a mental
Oh, he was talking about, I remember this. He did say that. He was like, and it makes you work harder too. It makes you know what you're working for, right? So it's like, if you fly coach or whatever, you're always like, oh, okay, well, but you get first class, you're like, I ain't never going back. When I go back home, we're going to hustle hard, right?
And we're going to make sure that anytime we board a plane, we can fly.
And it's like, maybe it's irresponsible or maybe it's not financially correct, but I believe that you have to train your mind and whatever you can tell yourself to get yourself motivated, It's important.
And I think we all can talk about what's a waste, but
we always waste something.
We always waste something, but in a position that we're talking about, we're trying to create incomes that allow us to do that, right?
Now, if you're just, I think a person that's not working towards anything, that's a waste. That's a waste. Because you're just doing it just to do it, or if you're doing it for...
I'm trying to create a lifestyle.
Right. So if you're doing it for an alternative motive, if you're doing it just to flex for the friends or whatever, and you're literally wasting your money, then that's pretty bad. But
again, if you're creating a business, and then you creating products and you creating different streams of income, you can create an income that just funds your lavish lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Just that alone, and then you got a stream of income that covers your bills, and you know what I'm saying. So it's
and a lot of it's imagination too. You gotta imagine. Like sometimes I'll be like I was in old cars before, and I was just thinking like you'd be driving around and just you're like tricking yourself. You're like, man, this is a Porsche right now. You know, it's really like delusional self-belief and you know, where I'm going to be in 5 years type thing, you know?
I think we live in a world where we have so many opportunities and so much accessible to us, but because of so many opinions of people, all that one word, or even people that imagine if on your journey you kept running into people who tried to start clothing brands and it didn't work. Well, that's all they would tell you.
Right.
Oh, I tried that, bro.
And I've had a lot of people tell me that.
Yeah, it won't work.
Yeah.
It won't work. It won't work. And some people are not even intentionally trying to bring you down.
Almost nobody is. That's the bad part. Almost nobody is intentionally trying to. So, bro, I use this like metaphor. It's like, okay, it's like this. It's the same thing applies to this. Okay, so you know how people get fat, right? People get fat by not just eating McDonald's. Right. They eat McDonald's, they have a soda, they have cookies later, they have this, they have that.
Then they go to sleep.
Then they go to sleep. Okay? It's the same thing for business. You're around your parents, they talk you down. You're around your friends, they talk you down. You go to your job, they talk you down. And they're not doing it intentionally. Right. No one's looking at you like, you suck, I hate you. Right. They're just projecting their fears, their lack of you know, confidence and their lack of belief onto you, right? And so you get around all these people. Right. And then all of a sudden now it's not if you just got around your family, but you got around positive friends. OK, that might balance out. Right. But it's what happens is you get around friends, family, all these other things, teachers, you know, even your church, maybe. I don't know, like anybody, because we're all people. Right. We're
all people. Everybody.
So everybody has these doubts a lot. Dude, almost like 90% of people have major doubts that cripple them, you know, for real. And it's pretty serious. It's like a drug. It's like it's really critical in how much it ruins people's lives just because of the way they talk to themselves.
And you just said a big part of it. I think people's titles too. Can run us off, because if my teacher tells me something, but the teacher has been put in this position, that I'm supposed to listen. Then if my parents say something,
and they're put in this position,
but these
your
are
church,
my parents,
they're put in this position. Everybody, man.
Everybody in life we put on a pedestal, but like you said, they're still humans. So they can unintentionally project their fears on you with no, like they don't mean to down you. They
Nobody
just
does.
let you know, hey, it didn't.
They honestly, it's even the opposite. They want your best. They want you to be safe, man. They want you to be cool. They want your bank to be good. They want you to, hey, go to the job and don't ask questions and get the raise.
There's no success in the safe zone.
There's no success in the safe zone. You got to lose.
You got.
Lose. I'm like the opposite. If I'm not losing, I feel weird. Right. When I start winning, when I start winning a little, I'm like, this ain't right, man. I'm too stagnant, right? I'm doing something. I'm not. It's like skateboarding is a main thing too, right? I've noticed, like, or I'm not noticed, but we all talk about this. When you go to the skate park and you do the same 7 tricks or whatever, 10 tricks,
time to do something new,
and you're not falling. When you're not falling, you know, okay, I'm in the safety zone. Yeah. Right. Wow. But you got to fall, and you know when you start falling, okay, I'm trying. Right. You know, and the only way to achieve is to try. Right. You know.
I heard a guy named Craig Rochelle say something important. He said, "Growth and comfort can't exist. They can't coexist."
Yeah, that's true.
If you're comfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah.
And for you to grow, you can't be comfortable.
Yeah, and it's wild, man. And then you have all the distractions of TikToks and the reels and all these distractions that keep you from progressing. Absolutely. You know, and they just hold you down. And that goes along with the teacher thing. So then you're sad. All your teachers are not. They're all saying this about you. Then you go home and just play on TikTok for 3 hours, and you repeat. You don't try nothing. You don't try to like get out of it. You don't read anything. You're not, studying positive people, and then you're just in a loop. And you can't get out of that loop.
That rat race that people talk about.
And then you start eating, and then the fat thing comes in too. And that's just a side thing, bro. It's crazy. I mean, I watch people.
It's a whole cycle.
That's why I watch people from high school. I've watched them steadily just decline out of nothing for no reason. It's like, what's happening?
And I can notice, it's crazy you say that, because I think we all can sit back and notice times that we're eating, but we're not even hungry.
Of course.
Sometimes we're eating out of boredom.
Of course, yeah. Out of boredom.
Sometimes we're eating out of stress, right? But a lot of time, imagine how many times people go and open the refrigerator door.
Oh my God, all the time.
Just opened it 5 minutes ago.
Yep.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
5 minutes.
Now you know I need to get a hobby, or I got to do something.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So, man, author now, clothing brand owner. What's next, man? Give us what's next, or you just gonna try to continue to build on what we have now?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to build. I think I'm gonna just work on getting at the other cities more, grow the brand. Probably a bigger book in the future, for sure. A lot of people were like telling me I should have a book on each of these chapters. I'm like, dang, man, because they can go deep. They're like, man, this chapter. Right. I see what you mean. You can dig a lot. You can dig a lot deeper. They were like, man, you kind of cut it off. I was excited to keep reading, but and I was like, I just want to keep it short, just to get you tested. But I might do that. So that might be a future.
Have you ever thought about, I guess, webinars or seminars, just having people come out and just
Yeah.
hear you speak? Or,
I thought that'd be cool.
Mhm.
I thought that'd be really cool. I don't know how to really get into that. I haven't done too much research, but I'm sure it's not too difficult.
Right.
But I think it'd be fun.
Absolutely.
That'd be cool.
Okay.
Maybe me and you can talk about that.
Absolutely.
That'd be
We
fun.
can do something. Have
Yeah.
a whole forum, man.
Yeah.
And just let the entrepreneurs speak and
Yeah.
let people. I think it's good when people can raise their hand and ask.
We should do like a panel. We should do like
Absolutely.
5 or 6
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs and have like them sitting here where we're all
Absolutely.
sitting, and then like have people raise their hand and like
Absolutely.
ask. That'd be
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah. Because I think that'll help inspire. Because it's most likely be inspiring entrepreneurs anyway.
Yeah,
People
right,
that really want
right.
that next
The next
move.
push, yeah.
So we got to work on that.
That's cool.
We'll have to do
Hey,
that.
y'all keep a
Absolutely.
lookout on that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So before we go, man, tell them where they can find you at, follow you at. Also tell them where they can get the book, what all they need to do.
All right, so my clothing brand is Uplandclothingco. You can go to my website, www.uplandclothing.co. And then on Instagram, it's just Uplandclothingco, one word. And the book is on there too. It's under the accessories tab. So make sure you go to the accessories tab and find that out. And then my personal Instagram is just Jesse Ferell. That's it.
All right, man. Thank you.
Easy.
Bro.
Thank you,
I
bro.
appreciate you.
Of course,
You know
bro.
what I'm saying?
Appreciate
And
that.
listen, hopefully we can bring you back, and next time we'll have that panel.
Oh,
We'll have
easy.
something
Y'all better
together.
keep a lookout
You
on
know
that
what
one.
I'm saying?
That's going to be
Absolutely,
sweet.
Absolutely. And thank y'all again for tuning in, man. This is what this platform is about.
Yep.
I just like to pick the entrepreneurs' brains, the people that's out here kind of shifting the culture, taking risks
Yeah.
that we don't take on the day-to-day. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Again, purchase the book, a book on self-help. Go to this website and lock back in with us next week. We'll be back.
See ya.
Yo.